Good morning, everybody. Appreciate you guys all being here and joining me in what is normally Serpent's slot. So Serpent offered it to me and said, hey, you want to stream? I'm like, hell yeah, a lot of stuff going on. So I will definitely do that. If you haven't gotten your morning cup of coffee, go get your morning cup of coffee. Always takes me a little bit to get started anyway. But I am not muted, so maybe I should stream more in the morning so that I don't, so I don't start muted. Just a thought. Might actually be streaming more in the morning, but more on that in the new year. Oh, and my favorite coffee mug in remembrance of our past friend and fellow crypto person, Savage Mine. He made this word, whatever I forget what they call it, but love this thing. So thank you, Savage Mine. We miss you. Yeah, Steven Cicero says, not muted, but had 2 streams going. So I kind of know what happened. So I'm trying multi-streaming. So right now I am streaming to YouTube as well as Twitch. Nobody's going to Twitch, which is fine. I'm just going to continue streaming there. Maybe somebody will finally discover me there. We'll see. But I'm also was trying to stream to X. So I clicked it to go on and it said, nope, can't do it because you're not eligible. Not sure what you need to do to be eligible. I'll have to look into that later. But then I said, continue anyway. Well, I didn't reselect the stream. So it created a new stream based on an old template, basically something else I had done before. So that's basically, I figured out what happened. So we are where we are now. So all's well that ends well. But let's see who is here with me in this morning. Burn is here. 619 OTA, Steven Cicero, Black Hat Team, Aragorn Strider, Crypto Bedell, Red Jasper Kane. That's a new name. Appreciate you being here. And that's all I see in the chat so far. So again, appreciate you guys being here. Hope you like the new overlay. Obviously, if we get super chats, tips, or subscribers or whatever, we'll see a notification and a little ding in the window right there. So and then, oh, you know what? The one thing I did forget to do, it says recent sponsor. That's a recent member. I need to change that in all of them. So, but sorry, wife came in and she has the stream on her phone, but I was like all confused. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Why is she coming in here? She's usually coming in here to tell me, hey, pay attention to this. So anyway, all right, well, let's get into it. So if you've seen any of my previous streams, you guys know I've been having problems with a 4090. In fact, let me switch over to that particular one. I have it right now down at 325 watts. Let me switch. This is the right one, right? Yeah. So you can see it's at 79 degrees, but I have it tuned down to 325 watts instead of 450. If I put this thing back up to 450, it would frickin' throttle itself. It'd run at 88 degrees and it'd be throttled to like 380, probably somewhere around there. So there's obviously something wrong, and I have done everything as far as trying to make the existing cooler work, and it's not. And I had found out that there have been some known issues with the Founders Edition heat sinks, that specifically the cold plate, and that they can get a hole in them. And then the vapor chamber just basically leaks everything out, and you basically just have a thing of metal that's trying to dissipate all the heat. So that isn't doing really much of anything. It's doing a little bit. Obviously, I can run it kind of, right now it's at 80 degrees. It's been going between 79 and 80. It's able to run, but it's running crippled. So thankfully, Swamp 7 and I were able to come to he offered me a price that I'm like, hell yeah. All I will say is I went online, and coolers for the 4090 for people that water blocked their 4090 Founders Editions will just have these like hanging around. So people have been selling them, obviously, to people like me who have a failed cooler. But they were selling for around $200 to $250. The first offer that I got from Swamp 7 was considerably less than that, and I jumped at it. I'm like, that's more than fair. So anyway, that is going to arrive on Monday. In the meantime, I will leave this one in its crippled mode. And also thanks to Swamp 7 for giving me a little bit of, I'll just call it guidance on how better to price my my Vast rigs. But anyway, I'll get into that in a second. So Monday stream, assuming that it has arrived by Monday stream, which it should, I will be doing the switch out of the coolers live, assuming, and I don't know exactly how he's sending it to me. I'm assuming it's going to be everything but the PCB. We'll have to kind of wait and see. If he only sells me or sends me the heatsink, then I'll have to do a little bit more taking things apart to get the heatsink in and then put other pieces back in. It's not a huge endeavor, but it would take more time. So I'd have to basically install the fans and some LED modules and things like that. So it does become a little bit more involved. So we'll see. We'll see what he sends me. Either way, I'm going to be happy with the price. But yeah, hey, the way I look at it is if he sends me the whole thing, which I'm pretty much what I'm anticipating, that means I've got an extra set of spare fans, and those fans are incredible. So the GPU I currently have, obviously I've been having to turn it off, turn it back on. The spin down on those fans takes forever. So the bearings are really amazing in those Founder Edition fans. It'll be nice though to have some spares in case one of them happens to go bad, because I do have 3 other Founders Editions. So anyway, so that's the plan there. Like I said, I'll have this limp along, either mining or doing it. Basically, it's going to do an interruptible job. I have it set like super high. Well, I have it set at 35 cents for a single 4090. I don't think anybody's going to rent that. If they do, then oh well, my reliability will take a little bit of a hit. But yeah, I have it set up really high, so it's basically just getting interruptible jobs, or it's mining at that low power. And until Monday, then I can get it fixed, and then I can set it more down to where I think it's more likely to get rented. So transitioning from there into let me get to that window. Not that one. Where'd it go? Not there. I just created a window before this stream. This is bizarre. I literally had just created it. I don't know why that one wasn't showing up. That's so weird. Oh, wait a minute. No, this is... All right, I'm confused. But anyway, I've got the window up there. So anyway, so here's my Vast currently. So currently I've got my 8 GPU rig, which again is only running at 8 lanes per GPU, and it does affect the DL perf score. But I have it set at 31 cents and it's rented. Now it has still coming a little bit off and on, but at this price, it has been re-rented. So we're good there. And then this one, the 6 GPU rig, I've got set at 30.5 cents, and it's generally been running interruptible. So, again, talking to Swamp 7, I think he has a good strategy, and I think it works really well, is that you set a very low interruptible score, and therefore you stay rented most of the time. So I looked at how much I'm making when I'm mining. If I'm mining Aleo on this, which is the most profitable coin, it makes between 6 and 7 cents. So if I set this at 9 cents, making 50% more, I'm still doing better with an interruptible than I am with mining. So it's still nice to have mining as a backup, so you're making something, but it's way better to be doing an interruptible at a low price. Also, what I have found is that when you do have an interruptible, typically it will get bid up. Right now, I'm running on a really, really low price. I mean, it's 0.737. So I think if I had worked that out, it's like between 12 and 13 cents per GPU. So again, much lower than what it should be, but it's better than not being rented and making almost twice as much as I would be making as if I were mining. So it's definitely making a big difference than having it just sit there and mine. So it's a good thing. Like I said, this one being running at 325 watts. Yeah. People have been jumping on and off this and being like, oh, I don't know if I like this, but I mean, it's set at 9 cents. So what did you expect at 9 cents? But, and that's all right. Like I said, once I have the cooler on it and everything set there, then we'll get a more better representation. But yeah, this week was a not so good week for Vast for me. Typically I'm around the $500 range. This week was only 410. So not complaining, just saying it was a relatively down week because of things being unrented. So I think this week it'll be better. Obviously if I can keep the 8 GPU at 31 cents, that's going to make a huge, huge difference. As I'll be making I forget what it came out to be, but it's like $8 more a day on that than I was making before. So yeah, I'm feeling very, very encouraged, and have my fingers crossed that I'll be able to get a 5090 to replace this 4090 in the one GPU rig, and see how that does on Vast when the time comes. Because I'm hoping that I'll be one of the only verified 5090s immediately. So when you have verified rigs, you can change the GPUs at any time. I mean, obviously, if you have a stored instance and then you change the GPU, not exactly what you want to do. But generally, people are going to be upgrading their cards on these. So if you have a stored instance, yeah, it kind of sucks in the fact that they're going to get a deal, but at least you're putting your card into a verified instance. So anyway, fingers crossed that I'll be able to get one and see what price I can get for the 5090. I would imagine initially, as it'll be kind of a novel thing to do, I have a feeling I'll be able to do a nice premium. The other thing I'm going to start looking into again, I looked into it before, and one of the people that I really respect in the Vast community had given up on offering VMs instead of just Docker instances. But now there's more people looking into it, and so I want to go back and evaluate what people are finding with offering VMs and see if it's worth it. Because the idea is that if you offer VMs, then you will be able to basically demand a premium. So I have thought about doing that on that one GPU rig, since it seems to be off and on. One of the things I believe I would need to do, I was reading something from somebody that said, yeah, you need to change something in the BIOS. I get that. But the person was intimating that you had to reinstall Linux after you've made that change to the BIOS, because there's something that changes within your Ubuntu install. I don't know if that's true, but it's something I want to look into. So, all right, let me, I've been ignoring the chat. Let me see what we got going on here. Arrogant Strider saying, I'm here for the test. Let's see. Not muted, but had two streams. Okay, so those are all the things I went over before. Mad Investor, are your Vast rigs rented for higher prices? As I just showed you, the 8 GPU, yes. So, and I should actually also give kudos for Mad Investor for starting the rebellion against my pricing in my Mondays with Max stream that I couldn't ignore. And I finally just said, fine, what do you guys think I should price it at? And lo and behold, guess what? I'm making more money. So I thank Mad Investor especially, but everybody else that piled on. I appreciate that very, very much. My pricing was definitely wrong. And that's why I said also Swamp 7, I think, because he's like, yes, price it higher because you're more likely to get a long-term person on there doing an AI job than a miner doing a shorter job. But he's like, then do your interruptible at a much, much lower price to make sure that you stay rented. So that strategy, both of those strategies, has really started to work very, very well. So definitely looking forward to having a more profitable 2025 with AI. We'll see. We shall see. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Okay, I'm not really sure how to say that. Snitost? Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Snitost SO. Welcome. That's a new name. Appreciate you being here. Ruined Puts in the house. Good to see you. And Automatic Beats here. DJ Mines is here. Well, I guess it's a good time for him because he's a number of hours ahead of us right now. And good morning, Crypto Mikkel. Sorry I couldn't make your stream this morning. I was in deep conversation with my son and my wife. We were having a good conversation just about just general stuff, and my son's not here that often, so it was just kind of a nice family conversation. So anyway, but appreciate you being here. Northern Prospector is here. What we mining? I'm mining Aleo still with the stuff I have in Kansas. Although, so I haven't been getting any bites on anybody that wants to take over my farm in Kansas. I mean, let's just put it this way. The bites I've gotten have not been like within the realm of possibility. I had somebody offer 2,000. I'm like, guys, I can get 4,000 in my sleep if I was willing to accept that little. I'm certainly not going to accept 2,000. So I was talking to King. So I may meet King not this weekend, but next weekend. So not like today or tomorrow. It'll be next weekend. I may meet him where he currently lives, which is about 8.5 hours away. But it's certainly better than the 10.5 hours I would be traveling to Kansas. And honestly, it's an easier drive, a slightly easier drive. But we're still kind of working that out to see if I want to do that or not. But I was looking on the internet. In fact, let me bring up, this is just honestly in my mind crazy, but if somebody wants to pay me this, so we look at 3070 Ti EVGA for the Win 3. Okay, so we look this one up. Now I'm not looking at new listings. I'm looking at, see, these are all 350, 360 on eBay. The people were trying to offer me 200 for this, but it's just because it's EVGA. If you look at sold, let me scroll down, get to that, sold. Okay, this one's for parts. Oh no, this is the scam one. That's right. I know it says top rated. That doesn't really exist, I don't believe. I know it says sold, but oh yeah, parts only. There it is. I was like, it has to be a parts only one. This one, it was 260, but this one 525. Again, this is parts only. That's not even a for the Win 3. That's an XC3. This one 380, 387. So you're getting really far up there unless, you know, read description. Who knows if that's a card or if that's a picture or if that's a parts only. But 350. So these are garnering, top dollar. So I'd actually gone to Jawa and was looking to see, because you can sell your GPUs here. So, but for, where did I put that? There it is. So for a 3070 Ti, they were willing to give me $196. I'm like, yeah, no thanks. But I looked at, if I went with Jawa, it came out to, it was like $3,700 is what they would pay me. And they pay for the shipping of taking your cards and bringing them to them. So if I was going to just say, screw it, I'm just going to sell to a reseller, I would still need to go through my cards and see like what might have some fans that need fixing. You know, I got to look to see what the condition of the cards are. I can't just have them shipped from Terra to Jawa. Plus, it wouldn't be using their label. Anyway, long story short, I'm looking at a lot of different options. But I'm done with the 3000 series. I think they can serve a better purpose at this point, for either people that are just getting into mining, or as just a gaming GPU. So yeah. Yeah, that's where I'm at this point. So I'm not saying I'm out of mining for good. In fact, some of the rigs that I currently have on Salad, I do want to switch over to Warthog. I think it's intriguing. Still getting in not super early, but relatively early. So could see some nice appreciation on anything that I mine. So it's kind of a spec mine play. But at the same time, I don't think you're basically breaking even on it for the most part. But yeah, that's kind of where my head's at as far as mining goes. I mean, Aleo is great. There's nothing wrong with mining Aleo. I am profitable, but it's not profitable enough where I couldn't deploy that capital somewhere else. I mean, if you look at, let's just say 4,000, I could buy 2 Volk miners and make more money. That's the way I look at it. Volk miner home miners. I could, and that's if I could get one, of course. But that's where my head's been. It's like, okay, if I still want to do mining, that's going to make more money. Now, if you look at a 5090, if I'm able to get one, that's an even better place in my mind to put my capital, because I'll make more money on that with compute. So like currently right now, typically you're around 25 cents or so. So at 25 cents, you're making how much per day? And the cost for electricity is about 5 to 6 cents per day. Per hour, I mean, not per day. So if let's just do 0.2 times 24. So you're making 4.8 on that GPU. That's way more than you'd be making mining. So it just doesn't make sense. Now it's going to be a 5090. That's going to garner, my guess is 40 to 50 cents. Let's even just say 40 cents. Well, it's double. So basically you may be making about $10 a day on that GPU. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting a few of those, getting more efficient with fewer GPUs, because it's going to be a 600 watt card. So I will have to possibly buy some new power supplies in order to do that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I also may be selling, I haven't decided yet, but I may be selling one out of those 3 GPUs that Sunflower Mama got in Huntsville when she got all 3 at the same time. So might be selling one of those as well. We'll see. But right now I'm kind of thinking I might be using those for Warthog. I haven't decided yet for sure though. So I don't know. Got a lot of ideas. So Crypto Craig, great question. But let me kind of go back because I don't want to forget about some other people that had commented and tagged me. So Argon Strider says, doesn't Vast have to approve new GPUs? Didn't it take a month or 2 before 40 series was enabled on Vast? Yeah, you might be right. I didn't think of that. Wow, you are definitely a Debbie Downer. Why did you have to say that? Well, I'll figure it out. I will figure it out. I'll make up for it as soon as it does get approved. But good morning, Crypto Crag. So, Aragorn Strider, you are definitely a Debbie Downer. Thanks. But Crypto Crag is here. Let's see who else. Dan Ruggs Europe, welcome. Let's see. And then Crypto Crag says, will you run the 5090 at 5.0 x16? Not initially. I obviously would need to, I don't have any motherboards that run PCIe 5. So not initially. I probably will eventually run it at that, but I honestly don't think it'll be necessary. I don't think the 5090 is going to saturate a PCIe 4x16. It would definitely saturate a 4x8, but a 4x16, I don't know. And I haven't really looked into that. I just know like the 4.0 PCIe 4x16, a 4090 is barely able to saturate it. Not the PCIe 16. I mean the PCIe 8. It's barely able to saturate it. So if the if the 5090 is going to be about 70 to 80% faster, it'll probably come pretty close to saturating PCIe 4x16, but I think I would probably do pretty well just with that to start. Eventually, I'll want to build out a platform that has that. But both my multi-GPU platforms are only running on PCIe 4x16. So ideally, I would like to do Octoserver with 6 5090s. But if you can't run like half and half, you can't run like half 4090s, half 5090s. They all have to be the same GPU. So it'll be a while before I'm able to do that. So the idea is that I will put the 5090s in either put them in single PCIe 4x16 rigs until I get enough to get up to that. And in the meantime, I will run out of rigs to put 5090s in, so I will have to build, one or two. And I'll probably build those with the intention of, once I'm able to put them all in the Octoserver, then at that point I will probably swap out a motherboard and actually upgrade my computer with the upgraded system. But kind of getting ahead of myself. We shall see what happens. Let's see what else. 5090 is the first to use 5.0. I bet renters will want it for max price. Well, true, but honestly, it'll be interesting to see if there's any change in the DL perf score with 5.0 by 16 versus 4.0 by 16. We'll see. Now, the other thing that would be really interesting would be to do 5.0 by 8 and do a dual 5090 rig. That would be interesting. The problem with that is you'd probably have to water block both 5090s in order to do that, because they're going to be so stinking big, and PCIe 5.0 risers, we're just really getting into it. I don't know if there's been a lot of extensive testing to see how reliable those are. So I think the best thing to do would be to water block your GPUs so that they become narrow enough that you can put them next to each other on a standard consumer motherboard. Heck, for that matter, getting one of the new, I don't know if they've come out with a PCIe 5 super micro board, but getting one of those where you could put like 4 next to each other. That's maybe I'd have to see how much that combo would be, but that's kind of an interesting idea. Doing like a 512 gig memory with like a 32 core EPYC on a super micro board. Huh. Wheels are turning. Wheels are a turning. We'll see about that. All right, let's see what else has been. Golden Wolf, welcome. Northern Prospector, welcome. Diesel 846 and Dr. T. I haven't seen you around, Dr. T. So got a couple of new faces in here. Appreciate you guys being here. Golden Wolf is drinking from the same mug. Awesome. Good to hear. This is my favorite coffee mug by far. Love it. And it's held up well. I mean, I use this every weekend. It gets washed once or twice a week. If I'm working, then it gets washed on the weekends if I use it, or if I happen to be around during the week, it gets washed twice a week. But anyway, point being is I've had this for a very long time and it has held up well. Unfortunately, I don't think anybody sells it anymore. It used to be, oh shoot, why can't I think of his name? Part of DCA Adventure, Dogelord. Although I don't know if he goes by Dogelord anymore, but he had a store that he sold that, and proceeds went to Savage Mine, or portion of the proceeds went to Savage Mine. So it was kind of a partnership, as I understood. So yeah. All right. I think I've beat those two subjects to death. So a couple things I've been working on. I've been home from work for a week now, which has been great. Feel refreshed, and I've been doing a lot of things. Obviously, you can tell I changed the overlay on the stream. In fact, let me switch back to the headshot. And so I'm really glad with this because this will show everything that comes up. You know, new subscriber. Like I said, I have to change the recent sponsor to be recent member, because that's more the vernacular that we use, obviously, with YouTube. And the recent donation needs to be recent tip. So I have within, although I haven't seen the bot, I might have to reset up the bot. But they're, oh wow, I got a couple of new follows in Twitch.
Give me a sword.
Give you a sword?
That's what it's modding.
Oh, okay. I don't know. It'd be dangerous, I think, if I gave my son a sword in Twitch, but anyway, I just happened to look up and saw that. But I did get a real follow from somebody else within Twitch. So to all my Twitch guys, appreciate you being here. Just looking. Oh, give me a sword. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, yeah, it's interesting. Actually, it looks like the bot is working in Twitch, but it doesn't look like it's working. I don't think I've seen the stream bot come up in the YouTube. Probably because it still thinks it should be on the other one. So I think that was part of the way I brought it up. But anyway, I changed to this. I like it. Hope you guys like it as well. Trying to give it a little bit more professional look. And it's a cookie cutter overlay package, but it was free and I liked it. And I'm like, hey, it works. Don't need to necessarily reinvent the wheel. Just got to kind of make it. Oh, and Crypto Mikkel jumped in over at the Twitch chat. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Back to my, now what's interesting is I'm supposedly on multi-chat, but multi-chat unfortunately hasn't been bringing up any of the Twitch chats, and I'm not sure why. So so anyway, it kind of goes back. I'm using se.live, which is streamelements.live. And with using that, it's currently beta. So there's a few bugs here and there, but it's been generally good. The biggest issue I have is that every time it needs to do an update, and it does pretty frequent updates, I have to close down Chrome in order for it to update. So that's kind of a hassle, but understand, you know, that's what it needs to do, because it needs to be able to update some files that Chrome uses as well. But anyway, I've been having fun with this. Good morning. Let's see, a number of people joined in. Let me see who just joined in. We have Zapirate and Son of a Rabid Panda and Vinny Del Greco. Welcome to all of you. I appreciate you guys being here. Okay. So yeah, so I'm using se.live. So again, enjoying that. And like I said, it makes it a lot easier. I learned a couple more things about OBS. So what I was having to do before, if anybody's used OBS before, you can add in a lot of different docs. But what I didn't realize is that you could add in a browser doc, meaning you could put any link into that browser doc and then bring it up and then move that around in the window. So what I had been doing is doing a split screen between YouTube Live and OBS. So YouTube Live was taking up a lot more space. Now I have it in as a doc, so I'm able to actually manage the stream a little bit better all in one window with OBS while still having the SE Live in a smaller portion of the screen. So it's a small improvement from a management perspective. But yeah, so anyway, it's all right. So there's that. And then I don't know what I wrote things changing, and I'm not sure what I remember what I was gonna ask you guys about. So I've been thinking about like what I talk about in my live streams and in my content. And it's honestly moved away from mining. Obviously there's still a crypto focus to it, but I feel like, everybody seems to be moving to tech and something else. And so I started thinking about mine, and I'm like, well, I talk about a lot of different things, but they're all related to money, not necessarily crypto. So I was kind of like thinking, max voltage, tech and finance, tech and crypto. I don't know, but there definitely will be a more of a slant towards tech going into the new year with some of the projects I'm thinking about doing. And none of these will unfortunately be sponsored, but hopefully maybe move that in that direction where maybe I get noticed, maybe get some new subscribers. So I don't know. We'll see. Right now I'm kind of stuck at 5,100 subscribers. Really haven't been moving a whole heck of a lot in the last 8 months or so. So trying to kind of figure that out, and trying to also, keep it fresh basically. So I am going to put up a poll and put up a couple ideas. And if you don't like any of these ideas, put other. And then if you have an idea you want to share, certainly put it in chat. What should I change my YouTube channel name to? And so max voltage, tech, and crypto. Finance, just max voltage, or other. Let's see what you guys say. That's easy. Just buy some YouTube subs and promotions. LOL. I tried it once. I did not have the same results as some of the other YouTube people. But I definitely have thought about that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Look, this is a business. Now, admittedly, I don't necessarily run it. I run it as a business, but I don't run it as like, oh, I gotta grow this. This is my only thing type of thing. I'm more focused on my main job, obviously, and the compute portion, because that brings in a lot more money than YouTube currently. Currently, YouTube brings in $150 to $200 a month. Nothing to write home about. Obviously, if I did more videos and had more content, obviously I'd make more money because you're just going to have more people come to your videos. Where was I going with that? Lost my train of thought. Need more coffee. But anyway, so I'm definitely going to have more of a tech, and I'll go over some of the things I'm already thinking about doing. And where was, I had things written down and I thought, no, I guess I didn't. I thought I had that written down. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, and then, okay. I just want to write something down before I forgot. So I definitely have to put that on my to-do list. So that was actually another thing that I made a change with, was trying to get things out of my head. And I have a tendency to like write things down on a piece of paper, any piece of paper that's around, and then have to go back and look for that piece of paper. So I end up wasting time doing that. So what I've done is I've gone back to, I mean, I'd used Evernote in the past, for like taking notes and to-do lists and things like that. But I didn't really like it much. There was just something about it I didn't like. Plus, I tend to get bored with things, so I always like to try something new anyway. So I decided, I was looking at a couple different things. I am a huge follower of Network Chuck. This is what he uses. I was looking actually between Obsidian and Notion, and decided on Notion because it was cloud-based. I know some people are like, well, no, you don't want it cloud-based. Well, agreed. I understand that there's pros and cons with it, but I also wanted to be able to use it for work. And so I knew that I wasn't necessarily going to be able to gain access to Obsidian necessarily from work if I had it like stored on my NAS. So I went with Notion instead. So I've just created a number of categories and things like that. And now I just have a general to-do list, which I will probably, evolve from just one to-do list to an immediate to-do list versus a someday to-do list. And then, move things back and forth on that. But for right now, that's what I'm using, and it's helping because I'm able to get all that shit out of my head and not being like, wait a minute, what did I need to do? Like what I just did, because I had forgotten to write something down. I will put that in my to-do list later. But anyway, let's see where we're at with the, wow. So 40% say just make it max voltage. Interesting. My son said about, well, when I started this thing, you just make it max voltage. Don't state what it is. Anyway. I like that too. So Geek of All Trades, who has nothing about crypto in his name, so he can do whatever he wants. I mean, Geek of All Trades just mean it's probably tech, most likely. So tech and stuff. I do like that. Tech and stuff. I might be able to grow. Yeah. Retro Mike says unboxing with Max. Let these sponsorships pour in, then brag to Geek of All Trades. Wow, that'd be such a goat troll. Such a goat troll. All right, let's see. Let me get that out of the way so I can see. We use Notion for work and it's crazy helpful. Yeah, I definitely like it. I definitely like it. So, Network Max. No, because that's like too narrow. Hang on a second. What did
She called you a menace to society.
Menace to society.
Oh, so that's what, Menace to Society Max. That's what my wife said. That's what we should call it. And yes, Tommy T, Network Chuck is not just pretty awesome. He's awesome. The only thing that and it's definitely good. It's not a bad thing. Is that if you ever try to like watch his videos and then follow it and do what he's doing, it's the pause button on repeat, man. It's like he goes through everything, well, mostly everything, and sometimes everything. So it just kind of depends on the video, but you have to pause. You're like, okay, wait a minute, let me do that. Oh, wait a minute. Where is that now? So yeah, you do that and then you hit play and know what the next step is. But he rolls through the steps like very, very quickly. If he was just doing it live, man, that 15-minute video would easily be an hour. I guarantee it. But man, he's entertaining and high energy. Like way, way high energy. Yeah, I've actually thought about that. I'm like, man, am I too low energy? I mean, it is kind of just, I don't really think of myself as totally low energy, but I'm definitely not as high energy as he is. Nowhere even close. He is like above DJ Mind's energy. He's watch his videos. If you haven't seen him, go watch him. It's pretty interesting. One of his most recent videos, he actually created a cryptocurrency for not only himself, but he also did it for his two kids, or had his two kids do it as well. So that was pretty interesting and showing how easy it is to do. But yeah, I'm kind of curious where that's going to go with their coins, because he was like, I don't remember what exactly he did with the kids' coins, but he did put them on mainnet, and then wanted to see like if any of them like, you know, increased in value type of thing. So I don't know. I just thought it was pretty interesting. All right, let me go back to the chat. Vinny Del Greco, mining is dead. Black Hat Team says, don't really need a label in your channel name. That's kind of interesting, but I might put it differently. Max voltage, flannel, and threads. That's actually interesting. I'm actually going to write that one down. I think it's a little too long, but it's definitely interesting. I probably won't do it, but I like the thought. I mean, that's really kind of cool. I'm probably going to be leaning, especially since the vote seems to be just take everything off it, just make it max voltage, which I like. That kind of gives me a little, I mean, I'm at 5,000. Being narrow and my name hasn't done me any favors as far as getting subscribers. So I would say I'm not really too worried about that. Let's see what else we got here. Network max, again, too narrow, but appreciate the thought, Retro Mike. Game over. Geek of all trades. Max voltage, game over. All right, let's see. Now I'm going back down. It looks like I had another vote. Hang on. Let's see, where was that? Tommy T say max networking. Yeah, I still like the max voltage. Max voltage has to be in there. In my opinion, that's what I want. Let's see. I'm scrolling down now. Let's see. Yeah, Tommy T, I thought of that too. Again, that's one of the reasons why I've kind of thought, man, maybe having crypto in the name isn't a great idea, even though that's still the focus and people know that. All right, I'm still scrolling down to see if there's any other name. Son of a rabid panda. Change name to definitely financial advice. Let's see. Crypto Crack, I do too, but only the online version and Copilot works with it. What did Crypto Crag say? I use MS OneNote for note taking lists and stuff. Yeah, I had somebody recommend that and it worked. It works and it works well. Yeah, I just didn't want to use it. So, yeah. I don't remember exactly the reason why I decided not to use it, but I decided not to use it. Probably because of who recommended it, to be honest. Let's see. Network Chuck is great. Chris Hanley, my man. Good to see you, Chris Hanley. Let's see. Is there any other suggestions that I missed? I don't see any yet. All right, let me Geek of all trades says, I'm setting up OpenSense on a Zima board to replace the Ingenious gateway in my Sandbox mini server rack. That thing is a turd. There's almost no customization without having their proprietary controller. Yeah, you know, yeah, I read up on Ingenious and when you originally got it, and it's so proprietary. So yeah, I was kind of like, yeah, for what you get. Not for me. That's interesting too. Kind of curious how AI in the name would be. So AI tech instead of like tech and AI. Kind of like that one too. Let's see. No, not fintech. Definitely not fintech. Fintech it basically implies DeFi, and I know very little about DeFi. I haven't really gone down that. Yes, micro but mighty is Geek's mini rack. And then Geek of all trades, you got to make videos to get subscribers. Come on, man. Actually, it's interesting. I was watching the WAN show last night with Linus, And it was very interesting. He was saying that evergreen content is like way down, which I find very interesting. So he was basically showing how more recent videos that he has, they spike up due to, a good thumbnail and, a catchy title, all that kind of stuff, but that it levels off. That YouTube is not feeding evergreen content to the algorithm as much as they used to. And so therefore your evergreen content isn't getting as much. That's what they've been finding. So either way. Okay. Well, my son is saying it's because people are searching less. So all I know is what Linus was talking about last night. And I thought it was interesting that that was the case. Now, with that said, my best performing video is me doing running Ethernet to my solar inverter and basically getting it to accept that as the internet connection. That is by far. And my title is how to change, 3G being something like 3G going away, fix it for $25 or something like that. And obviously the title has helped, as well as people still are figuring out that they don't have communication with Solar Edge servers anymore. And there's a lot of Solar Edge deployments in this country. By the way, can somebody tell me if Panda's going live today? Because I haven't even touched on half the shit I was going to touch on so far. But if he isn't going live, I'll keep going. But yeah, if somebody can look that up and see. But anyway, yes, I know I need to make content. I got to get back into the rhythm of it. For some reason, it's so funny. I remember talking to, I won't even say who the fellow YouTuber is, because I don't know if they would want me to necessarily disclose this, but I was talking to a fellow YouTuber, this would have been probably 6 to 8 months ago. And this person was saying, man, I really respect all you guys that can just go live and not be boring. He's like, going live scares the crap out of me because I'm afraid I'm going to run out of things to talk about. And I'm like, no, for me, it's like a time limit. Like, I'm going live. I've scheduled this. Mondays with Max, for instance, it's right around 8 o'clock every Monday. It is what I'm going to do, period. It's a time that I will absolutely go live. For some reason with recorded content, getting from beginning to end, well, first of all, hitting the record key in the first place. And then once I've recorded content, actually going through and editing it. I probably have 3 or 4 videos that I've recorded that I haven't edited. And now they're like not even really relevant anymore. So this has been over the last like 6 months. So I have to get into the rhythm of, okay, you're going to record this content and then edit it. And for some reason in my mind, I have like this block of, this is going to take so much time. When recording a 15-minute video probably isn't that hard. And I've had some people make some good suggestions, and I've done that on occasion. So I don't know. I just have to basically do what I do with live streams, set a time that I'm going to record content every week, and maybe start out with one a week. And then my goal would be to get to at least 2 a week. But anyway, I'm not going to make a resolution yet because I don't feel like I'm going to follow through with it yet with where I'm at currently. Have to get some things resolved in the beginning of the year, and then things may change. But anyway, I definitely recognize recording content is helpful. It's definitely helpful. By the way, is my microphone sounding clear? I might be, or am I clipping it all? If you guys could let me know. Let's see. Crypto Craig says, I get all my DeFi advice from Retro Mike. Kikabal Trade says, you're good at newsreader videos, and with AI so hot right now, you can do some AI news videos and would generate a huge new audience with that. Huh. That's interesting. So are you kind of on the line of maybe max voltage AI tech or AI in tech? What do you think? Let's see. Did I miss anything else? Well, Northern Prospector says, Geek of All Trades, I built a 256 gig 80 core VM server for my home. Software routing is in my future. I'm currently running a Ubiquiti Edge Router X. It's great, but the communication speed is limited. Yeah, it's definitely limited. Max tax. I haven't even gotten into the tax thing. I definitely want to get into that today as well. GPU compute solutions with max voltage. It's a little too narrow. Let's see. Northern Prospectors, I'm going backwards in the chat. So from what I see, I like the GUI better and only need simple DHCP management. I'm going to run Pi-hole on Docker eventually. Yeah, I may do that as well. All right. Now let me go back down since I missed out. Don't pigeonhole yourself in a specific niche. Look at some of the top creators now. It's just their name, like Matt Wolf. He does all AI videos, but it's not in the name. Okay. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I have a decent enough following that probably don't need the rest of it. So I'm probably just going to switch to max voltage. It's a catchy enough name, I think, along with the logo. But yeah, there's a couple things I still need to do. I haven't even put a banner, a good banner on my channel. The banner is of my computer. That's basically what the banner is. It's not horrible, but it doesn't really, I can do better. So I'm going to probably put something through Dolly and do that. So switching gears, speaking of Dolly, so I'm sure you noticed, obviously I have a new thumbnail for Mornings with Max. So anytime I do something on maybe Saturday or Sunday mornings for a live stream, I have this thumbnail that I can now use. And that was quite the trip of doing that. So, God, I should show you. I'm not going to show you them all because I would just be going down the rabbit hole. But what is frustrating is when you make a description of what you're looking for, and then they put stuff in the picture that's like, why are you putting that in the picture? They were putting guitar. So this was what got me. They put a guitar in the picture, and I said, remove all guitars. And what did they do? They put 4 guitars in the picture. So one of the things with AI is that if you mention a word, even to say don't do it, they're like a 2-year-old. If it's in what you've said you want, it will use that. It doesn't care if there's a negative in front of it or not. It's not looking at that. It's just looking at the word. Therefore, it needs to be in the picture. And then they will replicate it. I had the same problem with speakers when we were doing this. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. My son's laughing because I was like yelling at the AI last night. So I don't know if you can hear him laughing, but he was getting a kick out of it last night. So one of the things that I realized was when you are using, at least when you're using Dolly or ChatGPT, if you click on a picture, it'll blow it up, and then in the upper right of like just above the picture, there is like an eye for information, and it'll show you the prompt, the specific prompt that ChatGPT is using. So in other words, you provide it input, then additional input, then additional input. It's going to basically summarize that into a prompt that it's using to get what it's getting. So you can then take that prompt and then change it. So what I've learned, the best thing you can do is to specify the object specifically that you want in the picture, not mentioning the things that you don't want in the picture, to get a better chance of getting a good result. One of the other things that was frustrating is, I was getting microphones that were like 3 feet high. I mean, it was like microphones this, I can't even do it in the picture, like this tall. It was crazy how big these microphones were. It was like caricatures type of thing. So yeah. So anyway, I've been doing a lot of different things. I updated my LinkedIn profile as well. Still doing some work there. Yeah, lots of different projects. But anyway, going back to the Dolly thing, I finally got what I got, and that was like, okay, finally this is close enough. It wasn't exactly what I wanted. I wanted the whole thing reversed so that the chair was on the other side of the table, so that the whole thing was looking out. That's what I wanted, but I got what I got, and after that was probably hour 45 minutes to 2 hours just trying to get that one. So anyway, but yeah, I've been using AI a bit more with things, trying to no, it's funny, the one thing I always forget is to use AI for work. I've been making that change now. By the way, Goat, I need to talk to you about a strategy for LinkedIn, and how you come up with the things that you post. Specifically, like what do you look up, and then what do you use AI to do? Anyway, definitely want to talk to you about that strategy. I started trying to do that last night, and I'm like, none of this is really working. It's not bringing in like news type of thing. Now, obviously, IT is a bit different in the fact that there's always news coming out, while in logistics, there isn't as timely of news, but definitely want to try to find things and incorporate them into LinkedIn to get better interactions and be seen a bit more on LinkedIn. Anyway, all right. So did anybody see if Panda was streaming? Oh, try Ideogram. Very accurate new Gen AI models there. They just released an update. All right. Ideogram. Check out Ideogram. Okay. I would definitely do that. That's interesting too. I had somebody come up. I don't remember exactly if it was, I think it was in the Discord, I think. The Misfit Mining Discord, I think. I don't know. It was somewhere I came across a guy that was making a suggestion. You could be making a lot more money if you generated your own LLMs. And I was like, huh? And he's like, look, it's just Python. That's all it is. It's just basically Python. If you can learn Python, or hell, use AI to generate the Python and then make modifications to it, then you can make more money doing that by selling the actual LLM that you've used your hardware to create. And I'm like, interesting. I'm listening, and basically I didn't get any more information than that. But I then looked that up, and yeah, that's actually a side business that people have, is generating LLMs. But then the problem is I still never got to the point of, well, how do you find your customers? And you got to understand what they need for an LLM in order to be able to generate it. So you need to know the industry that they're in. So I don't know. I still have a lot of questions there, but that's pretty interesting. Okay. Now I wasn't sure if he was still on vacation. I haven't talked to him I have talked to him while he's on vacation, but I haven't talked to him in the past few days. So I wasn't sure if where he was, if he had come back. So, all right. Well, then I will just keep on trucking. Anybody can do Python. Try doing LLM in COBOL. Shoot, I should get my sister. My sister actually knows COBOL. So yeah, so she knows COBOL, so I could always get her advice. Goat says it's fine tuning an LLM. You aren't going to train your own model at home, not in a decent time frame at least. Fine tuning existing models for nice use cases. Okay, yeah, I guess that's what he was saying. Chris Hanley, I haven't heard of COBOL in years. Well, the only reason why I know about it is because Motorola had, I forget what their ordering management system. I forget what they called it, but it ran on OS 2, the predecessor to Windows NT. And but it ran on OS 2 way back in the 90s, not on Windows, but on OS 2. But it was programmed in COBOL. which my sister was involved in that project at Motorola. So yeah. I know that. Argon Strider, I do not know Pascal, but obviously being an engineer, I know Fortran, or at least I've programmed in Fortran before. I programmed checkers in Fortran. That's what I did. But yeah, it was like in college, if you were a computer science major, you learned Pascal. If you were an engineering major, you learned Fortran. The best part about when I went to college is everybody else prior to my class, or the time when I took like that intro programming class for engineers, everybody prior to the class that I was in had to do it on a mainframe. Now, they didn't have to use punch cards. That was about 5 or 6 years before that, but they still had to schedule time on a mainframe in order to run their code. And that was a real hassle because you could only run your code maximum like maybe twice a day, but typically only once a day. But then they switched over to Macs, where they had a Mac lab, the first basic Mac, and we could just go to the lab and, you know, basically we would have our code kind of outlined and everything, and basically type in our code and just run it. And if it didn't work, you figured out what didn't work, you made the changes, and then you reran it. So we could rerun it as many times as we wanted. Obviously, it takes a little bit of time, but it was so much faster and so much easier. So that was a huge change. I was so lucky to be just on the cusp of that, because one semester earlier would have been a big, big pain in the Mac voltage. Ploxlol. I don't know if that was a typo. It could have been, because the C's right next to the X. I would love to know if that was actually a typo. All right, so Goat says, if you can migrate AS400 systems to Dynamics 365, you only need to do like 3 projects a year and make $500,000 salary. What? Interesting. God, I know so many companies that are still on AS400s. AS400s were around in the late 80s. Now, admittedly, I mean, that's like saying a PC's been around since the late 80s type of thing. Obviously, PCs have changed. I'm sure AS400s have changed as well, but the architecture is basically the same because it sits in the same spot. Maybe it performs more functions, I suppose. I haven't kept up on it. I basically was around. System 360s were the predecessor to AS400s. And that's what Kemper Financial at that point, which is now after many mergers and acquisitions and stuff, is now part of Zurich, as I understand it. But anyway, it was Kemper Financial back then, and I was in the data communications department. So yeah, one side of our basement computer room was all System 360s, and they were getting replaced one by one with AS400s. Another side of it was all the mainframes, or mainframes is the wrong word. I forget what they were called. And then all the data communications equipment was like in the middle. And obviously millions of cables were run underneath the floor. One of my projects was mapping the cables because people hadn't been keeping good track of what went to what. So half of our job when something didn't work was actually tracing cables to see what went to what. Now, after I did that project, they knew exactly what went to what. So if something went down, they could immediately go to that port on the other piece of equipment and look to see if there was an issue there by looking at lights and indicators and things like that. So, and also being able to go in the system as well to see if there was something going on with that particular port. Anyway, that was a flash of the past. All right. AS400 maintenance and support models are super expensive too. If you can keep the antiques running, people don't want to lift and shift, would rather limp along till retirement. Yeah, God, how many? I think there's like a ton of SAP systems, SAP, that are running on AS400s. It just seems crazy. Frogman. Oh, true. It's technically isn't a mainframe, LOL, but still as annoying. Yeah. So, all right, let me switch gears a little bit. Well, I'll go into taxes because I don't want to get rid of too many people, but I want to go over this relatively quickly because for those of you that don't know, and I know there's people out there that'll be like, oh, it shouldn't be taxed. It's not taxed because it's a currency. You don't tax currencies. Well, actually, if you trade currencies, you do get taxed on the gains. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But it's not a currency. It's considered a commodity. That is the way the U.S. government has classified it. Not as a currency, but as a commodity. Again, we can argue about whether or not, but the IRS has made it clear that you should be paying taxes in their guidance. You should be paying taxes on your crypto gains. Simple as that. You can argue and you can take your chances by not doing that. That's fine. That is perfectly within your right to make that decision. It's not the decision I'm making, and I'm following the IRS guidance. So what is happening going into 2025? There is a change from universal basis to wallet by wallet basis. What that means is that if you were selling crypto on a universal basis, and not on a wallet by wallet basis, you're not going to be able to do that going into the future, and you're going to have to assign your basis to your wallets. So what I have done to make this simple so that I don't really have to worry about it so much is that I've moved all my crypto into one wallet. Or, well, not all my crypto into one wallet, but all the coins I have of a particular crypto, I have moved into one wallet. Now, with that said, that has a positive and a negative. So the reason why it can be a negative is because now everything's lumped together, and going forward, you have to do FIFO. There is no opportunity to do HIFO or LIFO. Again, I'm going strictly by what the IRS has said. There's some disagreement of exactly how that's going to work, or if you'll still be able to use HIFO in the future. It's as clear as mud right now. So I'm just trying to state what it is and where the disagreements and what you can possibly do about it, and which parties are saying what going into this. So again, going from universal to wallet by wallet, you have to assign your basis. So if you keep everything separate, you need to assign, either selectively assign, or have a global allocation method. So for example, with Koinly, their standard is going to be lowest cost goes to biggest wallet. That's the way they are going to assign things. So figuring that your biggest wallet is going to be your long-term holding and that your other wallets are going to be more shorter-term holding. So that's why they've made that the standard. Now, you can do something else. Do highest cost goes into your biggest holding. You can do that. I believe that they do have that option. But there's another thing that some of the other accountants have been saying. And they have been saying highest cost first allocation. And what they mean by that is that no matter when you bought a particular crypto, for example, is that you want to assign your highest cost allocation, your highest cost basis, to your oldest purchase. So that's what I've been trying to figure out, if you're even able to do that. I don't think you are. You can't reassign your basis to purchases. This is what I'm reading in like Koinly and Ledger forums, because other people have basically taken what the accountant said, which was we want to reallocate the overall basis. And one of the key things that the IRS has said in its guidance is reasonably allocate. And how I take that is, yeah, you have to take a particular purchase and allocate it to one of your wallets, or allocate it all to one wallet. But you can't change the basis of that purchase, and you can't change the date of that purchase. It still has it's still a lot. You can't break apart the lot. And again, I'm not stating what's right or wrong. I'm simply stating the arguments that are being made. So I was looking at a Koinly forum post, and Koinly was basically saying, this is the way it is, but if you want to do something else, go here. So I went there, noticed that the forum post said it's closed, and said, nope, this is what we're doing. Take it or lump it, basically. And it appears that at least I looked at CoinLedger and I looked at Koinly. They both have the same standard, which is the best thing is lowest cost goes to the biggest wallet. And that will work for most people. The problem with that is that, let's say you have, a bunch of gains from old purchases, and let's say you have 0.2 Bitcoin. Let's leave round numbers. 1 Bitcoin that you bought a long time ago, that's where your biggest gains are. Now you have 1 Bitcoin that basically maybe only has, 20% gains. You bought it when it was like around 80. And you want to sell those. No, you can't do that anymore. The only allocation you can do, according to the IRS guidelines now, is first in, first out. That's it. You cannot specify lots anymore. Again, I'm doing a lot of reading. There's conflicting information out there. So what do you do with all this conflicting information? This is what I would do. Do all of it. So let Koinly do its allocation with the lowest cost to the biggest wallet. That does make sense. The other thing is just hedge your bets. There are documents that are out there, and I will put this in the video when I make it, which I will be doing this weekend, where there's a document that you can just check a box and state, this is how I want to allocate my funds, and say you want to allocate it highest cost first. First, it's not first available. First allocation. That's what highest cost first allocation. So that way you're basically saying, yeah, I want to sell my highest cost stuff first. But again, there's some I don't want to say misinformation. Let's just say that people are interpreting the guidance differently. So there's like Crypto Tax Girl, and there's a couple other people out there that have done this highest cost first allocation video. But like I said, both Crypto Ledger and Koinly have said, no. You can't reallocate the cost from one lot to another just because it's more preferential for tax reasons. So I'm kind of curious to see. I understand the wallet by wallet basis. What I don't understand is, why can't I specify what lot I'm selling? That's the part I don't understand. You're able to do that with stocks. You're absolutely able to do that with stocks. So I don't understand why we can't do that with crypto, unless they made a change with stocks. But my understanding is they have not made that change with stocks. So that is what I would do. Here's the other thing. I'm looking at my taxes. Just full disclosure, my family does not make $94,000 in adjusted gross income. And because I'm married, anything below that with long-term capital gains is 0. So I am probably going to sell a considerable amount of my Bitcoin and then rebuy it right away. There is no wash rule with crypto, so you don't have to worry about that. You can go ahead and just rebuy what you just sold, and now you've reset your basis and you have that gain. But the gain obviously depends on what your tax bracket is. You may or may not want to do that. So at that point, I will kind of, I don't want to say zero out my gains, but I will have a very small amount of gain because most of my gains are in my Bitcoin right now. So I held on to a lot of altcoins from the bear run, and you look at where we are now, we're still below where we were during the last bull run in most altcoins. We haven't exceeded all-time highs like we have with Bitcoin. So that is my tentative plan, is to sell Bitcoin now so that I'm basically relatively even. Take that on this year's taxes, knowing that it would fall in the 0% long-term capital gains, and go from there. So that's kind of my plan at this point. So, all right, let me go into the chat, see if there is any questions. I wonder how many people I lost with that whole tax discussion. But bottom line is, do your own research on taxes. The key thing is, if you are going to, everybody needs to make a declaration of how they are going to allocate their basis. Period. If you don't, you are not eligible for safe harbor, and you could run amok with the IRS if you don't do that. So absolutely make sure that you are making allocation. Now, Crypto Ledger, interestingly enough, says that they sent you an email. If you use them, they sent you an email stating this is how everything is going to be allocated. They have openly stated that is enough. We have stated this is what's happening, and therefore that is your letter stating that this is how you're going to allocate the funds. That satisfies that Safe Harbor Act. And you've done that before the first of the year, but it has to be done before the first of the year. Some type of timestamp needs to be on that thing. So easiest thing to do is fill it out and email it to yourself. That way you've got a timestamp on it. So, but do your own research on it. Figure out how you want to handle it. Like I said, there is definitely some disagreements of exactly how to handle it at this point, but definitely do something before January 1st to make sure that you are covered by Safe Harbor. All right. Retro Mike, in my humble opinion, this is a very good thing. It gets people back to using UTXO the way it was intended. One address per inbound transaction. UTXO input has the cost basis on it. I tend to think it's a good thing too. I mean, think about it. If you were able to just use universal tracking amongst all your stock accounts, and you had a Fidelity account, a Charles Schwab account, I mean, how confusing would that be to the IRS? Again, this is all for the IRS. Let's be honest. It's all for the IRS so that they can track how much you guys have made, or everybody has made, in income trading crypto. And stocks has always been tracked on an account by account basis. So, I mean, they're really just making this more and more like a stock. That's all they're doing. They're just trying to align it with that. So that is what they're doing. I could use some lipo, turkey neck. I don't know where that came from. Let me see. I'm going to go back a little bit in the chat, see if I missed anything. I'm back up to the COBOL thing again. Let's see. AS400. Let's see. All right. So, procedural languages are so much easier. Oh, Plock's Law, not a typo. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Mac voltage. Let's see. Okay, and then we got none of that. And then okay, so I didn't really miss anything. Retro Mike, this is from Goat. Ran into UTXO issues in Ledger and wouldn't let me transact in LTC till I consolidated the UTXOs. How can one avoid this? Retro Mike says, don't do microtransactions. LOL. Make sure you are using the right account type. There are 3 different types. Interesting. Well, I don't use Ledger, so hopefully I don't run into that problem. So mine to a temp wallet, then transfer to long-term wallet in bigger chunks. I think that's basically what he's saying is a better thing to do. Tube and Jar says, the crypto tax sounds like a whole lot of BS. Should only be taxed on what you cash out. Okay. So yes, you are only being taxed on what you, well, think of it this way. if you are trading from one stock to another stock, that is treated as cashing out and rebuying, because that's what you do. You can't just convert. So if you're going from one crypto into another crypto, that is a sale and a buy, and that's the way it should be treated. Now, as far as anything else like mining, well, again, mining is setting the basis. So if you mine, 10 coins of anything, whatever the price of that coin was when you got paid out from the pool is setting your basis, but it's also setting how much income you made. So there's no double taxation in crypto. You're being taxed on your mining income first, which sets the basis. So let's say you have a coin that is currently worth 100, but when you mined it, it's worth $50, and now it's worth 100. So when you mined it and it got paid out, that $50 is a taxable event. Okay, so now your basis is $50. You have to pay that on your you have to include that in your taxes as income. Okay, now you go to sell that at $100. You are not taxed on the full 100. You're taxed on 50. You're taxed on the gain of it. So you're not double taxed. So if anybody's thinking that, no such thing as double taxation in crypto. Not saying there's no such thing as double taxation, because we can go through the whole corporate tax and all that kind of crap. That's a whole other story. But when it comes to specifically your crypto mining, you're not double taxed. Let's see. Retro Mike, set a higher payout threshold. Yeah, definitely go to the pool and set a higher payout threshold. Code says all taxation is theft. Well, country kind of has to run on something. Didn't used to have to run on as much, but yeah, it's kind of water under the bridge at this point. Retro Mike, you should make a video about that all taxation is theft. Tube and Jar, I haven't gained anything until I cash out. I can tell you there is a very prominent YouTuber that had made that argument to their taxation authority in their country, and they lost, and they had to pay out a lot. So you can say that, but that's not the way things work. It's not the way things work. Now, interestingly enough, if you want to make make it similar to this, let's say you have a CEO that runs a company that gets paid out in stock. And I was actually just saw a short about this. If they get paid out in stock, it's taxed. It's taxed. What doesn't get taxed is stock options, because you don't own the stock. You just own the right to buy the stock at a much lower price than what currently the market is at. Those are the things that big CEOs and big executives will take and then take to their bank and then use that as collateral to get a loan so that they don't execute those options to get taxed. So if we want to do an somewhat apples to apples comparison, when people are paid out in stock, it's taxed. It is absolutely taxed. Same thing with mining. You are paid out in a crypto. It's taxed at the current value at that time. Same thing with stock. When you receive that stock, you've taken possession of it, and the basis of that is whatever the price is on that day. So it is an apples to apples comparison. Doge is getting rid of the IRS. Sure. You do realize that Doge doesn't have any teeth. Congress holds all the purse strings. Everything has to go through Congress. The only thing they can do is embarrass, bring to like for instance, if there's some pork barrel spending, they can bring it to everybody so that everybody can see it. So they are going to be basically using Twitter as well as other social media to bring people's awareness to these crap projects, to embarrass Congress to get rid of these things. That is what they're going to be able to do. Now, I'm not saying that's nothing. It is something, but they cannot tell Congress what to do. They cannot do that. It literally is not in their charter. The Constitution specifically states that the purse strings are in Congress, and then the president has to sign the budget. Okay. In that budget are all the allocations. So that is absolutely truth. You can read the Constitution and see that. All right, let's see. Retro Mike was watching some content. They were saying that once BTC goes ballistics, that folks will have to stop DCAing every day because they are going to get eaten alive by fees. Yeah, probably somewhat true, but that's when ETFs will, because ETFs won't eat them alive. They can DCA into ETFs instead. So there's still a solution to that. And that's, I think, really where you're going to get the everyday person. They're going to go to ETFs. If you choose not to report it, then your cost basis is zero and you will pay capital gains on the full amount you sell at, instead of just the difference between the real cost basis and sell price. I mean, yeah, except again, the IRS could come back and say, we know that the cost basis wasn't zero. Again, it's open to some interpretation because it's not written in the law. It's IRS guidance. And until there's actually a court case, and I know that there was a current court case going on regarding basis and things like that. I don't recall what it is, and I don't think it's done yet. But yeah, right now it's guidance, and there isn't specific law written for it, and it's going to be open interpretation by a judge to relate current law to something that isn't specifically legislated, but more generally legislated. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what the courts decide. And I think we're going to need probably more than a couple of cases in order to get full, to know exactly where it's going to go. But like I said, in my opinion, I'm just going to follow the IRS's guidance, because I do not want to get in trouble with the IRS. I had a friend whose wife was an IRS auditor, and the stories I heard, you do not want. I mean, if you are not prepared for an audit, they just freaking lick their chops and have you for lunch. And so unless you absolutely have everything completely buttoned up, so I would like to avoid that, in my opinion. Let's see. I hate it when it does that. It just jumped. So, Crypto Craig, did Koinly send you anything on allocation? No, they are now requesting that everybody go in and make their allocation selection, which I hadn't seen that email. I just happened to go in and find their post. So you go into the cost section. It's the upper right. It's settings, and there's a cost basis tab. You go into there, and then you say make allocation, and basically they only have one selection, but that way you have covered yourself on that. So that's what they've done. Let's see. Crypto More said my CPA simply said to put it all crypto in one wallet by the end of the year, which isn't possible since not all wallets accept all crypto. Okay, so you misunderstood what he was really trying to have you do. He's saying put all of each coin into one wallet. Therefore, all cost basis for that coin is in one spot. That's what he's saying. If you do that, allocation isn't going to really matter because everything's in that spot. The part that's a little bit more complicated is, I mean, if you've got DeFi wallets like Phantom or MetaMask, where you need to have a little bit of Solana or a little bit of Polygon in those wallets, you're going to need to set some type of allocation because you're still going to not want to move everything out of there into one wallet and then move. I mean, you could do that. You can move it all into one wallet and then move it back. at the beginning of the year. And then when you move it back, you specify like what lots you're moving. So, oh, you know what? Actually, I don't even think you can do that, because I think once you move it, it everything is first in, first out. Again, clear as mud. Don't quote me on that, but it's complicated. It really kind of a simple concept, but implementation is actually can be pretty complicated. Let's see. Yusuf Put says mine to exchange, then dump and move. Man, that's what I do. Mining rewards are taxed as income. The Stick Shark. That's the way I interpret the guidance. No double taxation without representation. Yeah, that's anybody know what that's from? I'll wait. I'll see if anybody can name it. And Vinny, you can't answer that question because you know where it came from. See if anybody knows their history. Ryan Renier says, what about staking rewards? Rewards are income and cashing out is considered capital gains, right? So this one, again, don't quote me on it because this one's kind of interesting. So if you notice, some staking rewards, like if you're staking in Coinbase, they continually pay out. And it's a pain in the ass because you just have all of these daily transactions from your staking rewards. So you have all of these transactions that all add up to a maximum number of transactions. So I'm right in the process right now of unstaking my Polkadot in Coinbase, and I'm going to move it to LEPAL. LEPAL used to require 250 coin minimum. I believe that they have taken that completely away now, so you can pretty much stake anything. Don't quote me on that, but I'm going to move it into my LEPAL after the beginning of the year and restake there because I'm still waiting for it to unstake. It's a 30-day waiting period. I did it like, I don't know, first or second week of December. So it's going to be beginning of January until I can move that. But some of them do that, while others will like keep it in like a place where you can claim it. For instance, if you're running a pre-search node, for example, pre-search node, you have to actually claim it. But if you don't claim it and then roll it into one of your nodes, you're making a little bit less. So it makes sense to claim it every so often and roll it back into your node, so you're making a little bit more. But if I look at like my Cardano in my LEPAL wallet, that is just continually like building within the stake, but it never hits the wallet. So the wallet still says it has, whatever it has, which was the original staked amount, even though when I go into the staking of it, it gives me the opportunity to claim it. But if I don't claim it, it's still being counted as part of the stake. It's rolling it back into the stake and I'm earning based upon the higher amount. So in those cases, it hasn't hit my wallet as a transaction. And in that case, I haven't taken ownership of it. So that's the way I look at it. I mean, obviously a lot of things are handled differently. The IRS is still learning, really what it comes down to. So as a general rule, staking is considered income. And whatever you have claimed that stake is, man, I'm getting hungry now. That stake is income, and the basis is based upon whenever you make that claim or paid out to your wallet, one of the two. So long answer to that simple thing. So cashing out is not considered capital gains. It's considered income. It's simple income. It's like interest on your bank account. It's like mining. It's income. So staking rewards are not capital gains. They are income. Sox fan says freedom isn't free. It has to be paid by someone. I hear what you're saying, but I mean, if we just went to a complete anarchy, we'd be free. We'd be free. We wouldn't have any police, fire, whatever. We'd be free. But so it can be free. We can have a free society and be free. But just saying, we really want to look at that statement. After this year about taxes, I'm ready to move to Switzerland. Yeah, you are not wrong. You are not wrong. Let's see. Max, do you know anything about the tax rules for lost coins, like lost wallets, exchanges going down? Yeah. I looked into this at one point, and my recollection is that you cannot claim it as a loss. If you lost your coins, you cannot claim it as a capital loss. That's my understanding. You can do your own research on that, but that is my understanding, because I did look into that at one point. BTC options expired today. Interesting. Today on a Saturday. Interesting. Shark Farmer max tax. And it just jumped on me. I hate it when it does that. Veto power is ours. Well, if you mean by voting, I guess. Obviously, the president has veto power. I DCA'd 1360 into SWI. Fees cost me 40 cents. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly cryptos out there that are cheap to do, but obviously, if you wanted to get into Bitcoin, the fees can be really expensive. Oh, your dad used to bust people? Was he in the IRS? Interesting. Metro Mike says, last year my brother got audited and had to provide proof of every transaction since inception, and that he couldn't prove, they deemed zero cost basis. Interesting. So they didn't penalize him on it for not claiming the income in the first place? Or did he purchase the stuff? See, here's the thing. If you can't prove what your basis is, yeah, they'll go and say, well, it's zero cost basis because you can't claim what the basis is. So that has nothing to do with whether or not he claimed income on it or not. But if he, okay. So yeah, if he doesn't tell him that he didn't, that he mined it, and they're just like, oh, you just can't find the cost basis of it, then maybe they gave him the benefit of the doubt. That's definitely possible. Interesting. 'Cause I think they gave him favorable treatment if they did that. Max, audit a homeless guy on the street all you want, you still getting nothing. Well, I don't know what the point of that was. Retro Mike, they hit him hard. He proved everything, but it was a long, stressful process. This is why I'm so big on Virgin Coins. He had to trace the transactions to original UTXO input, not just when he got it. Really? Oh, that's crazy. So Cryptomoro. So all ETH in one wallet address and all BTC in one wallet address. Yes, exactly. It's just the fact that all of your crypto is in one wallet address. That will make things simple going forward. Yes, that is the Tea Party, the Boston Tea Party. Sorry, I did that really poorly. The Boston Tea Party. And that still wasn't good, but it was better than the last two attempts. Let's see. Chris Hanley, I wouldn't even know where to start with what. The Boston Tea Party was about taxation without representation. Oh yeah, you're right. Not double taxation. You're right. I had the taxation part right. Oh yeah, I unstaked all the tiny Coinbase coins. Hundreds of transactions worth less than 0.01. Yeah. I do not like the way that they do staking. All right, let's see. Well, Yusuf, you could make that argument about a lot of things. It all adds up. It all adds up. So, but by the way, not true. I mean, your friend Andy has openly stated he's got lots of Flux nodes running, and he is making over $10,000 in staking. I would bet money on it. Would bet money. Let's see. Argon Strider, folks pushing the fact that people rioted about a 3% tax on tea, and we now much higher taxes. I try to remind them that it was about no taxation without representation, not the 3% tax. Yeah. Well, again, stolen coins, lost coins, same thing. My understanding, and again, I'm not quoting this as fact, I did some research on it a while ago, and my understanding was you could not take stolen or lost coins as a loss. That's my understanding. So Golden Wolf, yes, Dad was enforcer with IRS. Mom was head of corporate taxes for the state of Pennsylvania. Well, that was quite the power couple. That's for sure. How are crypto gifts taxed? My understanding, same way as stocks. So, so gifts versus, if you're talking like donations, donations are just like stocks. Crypto gifts are, they're handled the same way as stocks or even cash. Now I don't know when you give a gift of stocks or crypto, if it's based on the basis as the value or if it's based on the overall value at the time. And again, crypto or any type of gifts, there's a certain maximum you can donate to somebody or gift to somebody without having to pay taxes, like it's like a payment, like it's a payment for goods or something like that. That's my understanding. Now there is a loophole to that. I don't want to say loophole, but an alternative to that where you can pay somebody out. I think it's like a maximum amount, like 1 year. So there's like a single year where you can pay out more, I think. Again, not a tax expert, but that's my recollection. I could be wrong on that though. Crypto interest of 10K. Like I said, he is currently running nodes and staking Flux to run those nodes. And yeah, he's getting paid. Watch some of his videos, talk about how much he owns of Flux. And Flux is paying out 6 to 10%, depending on what kind of node it is. If you have do the math. If you have 300,000 in value, and I'm not saying that's what he has, I'm just saying if he has 300,000, and you could figure out about how much he owns, but if he has 300,000 in Flux, okay, and it's paying out 5%, that's $15,000 a year at a 5% rate. Now Flux is paying out higher than that. So like I said, it's just math. All depends on how much of a particular crypto that you own. Let's see. What else do we got here? $16,000. Yeah, it's something like that now. It changes year to year. Let's see. I've been called worse. They never forced the kids down the same road. Well, that's good. I was certainly never the accountant type. My mom was. She was bookkeeper. Okay, that's Ryan. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a lifetime tax-free gift up to 13 million. I don't know if that's 1 year or whatever, but yeah. I'm not going to. I said your friend Andy. Like I said, it's not a secret, and I don't know how much he exactly has. I'm just simply stating he has stated that it is one of his largest holdings. Now, how much he currently is still holding, I don't know, but I'm sure at some point he was holding that. Like I said, go back and review his videos if you want to figure it out. He has generally disclosed how much Flux he has if you watch one of his Flux videos. So yeah, he is a Flux whale, or at least has been in the past. I don't know where he's at currently. Gift tax exemption. I can give X amount to child. My spouse can give X amount to a child, and I can give X amount to child's spouse. Yeah, no, I know. You can play that if you have, like if it's a parent giving to their kids and their kids are married. Yes, you can go dad to daughter-in-law, dad to son, mother to son, and mother to daughter-in-law. Something like that. So yes, you can do that. No question. Tube and jar. I already paid tax on my hardware. I already paid fees on my electricity. Now I have to pay tax on what I mined. I might as well just sell all of it and turn my back. Wait a minute, tube and jar, you're missing the point. Okay, the money you spend on your hardware is tax deductible. Well, it's a tax deduction against your business income. Treat it like a business, and you are able to deduct that from your overall earnings. Okay. Then your electricity, same thing. Keep track of what your expenses are against your mining rewards. Simple as that. You can claim losses. So, yeah, it's not. I don't know. I don't know. Other than that, I don't know what else to say. My daughter is in her junior year of college for accounting and has been leaning towards forensic accounting. Yeah, that's interesting because that's just digging deep and trying to find needle in the haystack type of thing, which to me would be interesting. The basic accounting, everyday, dull and boring in my mind. Argon Stars, beyond the gift tax exemption, you can use some of your estate tax credit, but I don't think it's 13 million. Okay. So like I said, I thought there were some ways to get around the limit. But if you don't have to do the limit, then even better. I thought Panda is our whale. Well, he's a whale, but he's certainly not a flux whale. Well, Dev School, you can send me a hang on, where did you say? Let's see. You can actually send me a don't even need to send me a friend request. I don't have incoming things blocked. So you can send me information on Discord. So just send it to me on Discord. My Discord is right at the top left of the screen. So, no, he's talking about, I'm responding to the guy in Twitch. So, he's saying DM him in Discord. I'm saying DM me. Yeah. So go ahead and DM me, Dev School 5. So go ahead and do that when you get a chance. Let's see here. All right. So enough talk about taxes. Everybody's got to be pretty bored with that. Plus, I only got 5 minutes left. So I will, because I know, oh, wait, you know what? Is Rabbit going live? Is Rabbit going live today? So can somebody look that up for me and see if Rabbit's going live? All right. In fact, I'm going to close this poll since it does appear that max voltage, while only getting 41% of the vote, it still is the highest vote. So I think I'm going to go with that. I'm just going to do max voltage and eliminate everything else. And I'll probably have to redo like things like this. So it's just max voltage and go from there. All right. And poll. There we go. All right. All right. So let me know, like I said, let me know if Rabbit is going mine. I know he has been sick. He's not. Okay. All right. Well, then I'll keep going for at least a little bit longer. Probably not for too much longer though. Scratch that out. I have done. Oh, DJ's probably not here anymore, but definitely we need to look at the DJ versus Max because we are nearing the end of the year. And man, DJ talked a lot of smack. So let me update this because this is obviously old. So it's just easier for me to look it up on the phone. So I know that Litecoin is right about 100. Let's see. Yes, Litecoin 101.14 currently. And Caspa is 0.1219. Yeah, Litecoin's kicking Caspa's ass. That's for sure. So yeah. Retro Mike, make sure you check handles on all social medias to see if they're available if you aren't just changing the display name. Yeah, I mean, I'll have to check to see if YouTube, if I can shorten that. I'll figure out something, but yeah, I'm definitely going to change the, and I'm sitting here circling on the screen where you guys can't even see it. Anyway, but I will change that in my overlay once I changed the name. But the good thing is I couldn't get max voltage on Twitch, so I just added 52 to the end. I couldn't get straight max voltage on Discord. Somebody grabbed it first, and so I put a period at the end. And then Twitter I've had forever, so yes, I'm just max voltage on Twitter, or sorry, X. So yeah, those, I do not do anything on the other socials, Facebook or anything associated with Facebook. I do it personally, but I do not do it for YouTube and this part. Yep, Vinny, LTC came flying up from behind. Now, I predicted this because this is why I picked LTC against pretty much anything else. And because I thought Litecoin would go up faster at the end of the year than all the other altcoins. Now, that hasn't been the case totally, but that was my thinking. And obviously, Kaspa hasn't. I mean, it's still up since the beginning of the year. It's not horrible. I mean, if you had a regular investment that says, yeah, you gained 10% this year, you'd be like, not as good as I would like, but not horrible. Certainly better than Peloton. Don't even get me started about that. No, Canada's the 51st state. Where do you get the 52nd state? And no, Canada's not going to be the 51st state. That's freaking ridiculous. Is Rabbit still alive? I don't think there's any claim that he has passed or anything. He just has been sick. Retro Mike Trespa time. But I definitely had to check that. Let's see, what else have you guys commented on? You can be like Rabbit and do voltage max. True. Could definitely do that too. I guess I could look that up and see if I could do that on change my name on Twitch. And then if I need to on YouTube, I could do that. But I think there's no, well, yeah, you'd have to have a different link. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But thanks for that suggestion. I appreciate it. MySpace. No. I was never on MySpace. Not even MySpace curious. So Greenland 51st. Yeah, that's funny, Yusuf. Yeah, I don't think the Netherlands are interested at all in selling as Greenland. Last time I checked, it wasn't for sale. Yes, Peloton. My previous investment guy had invested 10% of my wife's portfolio. Well, no, even more than that. I think it was like 20% of my wife's portfolio in Peloton. He's like, yeah, you guys are into cycling. I think this is going to do well. Oh my God. I could have told him it wasn't going to be good, but I found out that he invested us in it when it was too late. So yes, he's no longer my investment guy. Aw, poor Vinny. No one talks to me on MySpace anymore. Panama's 52nd Shark Farmer. Oh my God. Yeah, nobody is going to be taking over Panama. We wouldn't accept Canada as a state anyway. Yeah, I mean, shoot, they accept Panda. I mean, my God, why would we want that as a 51st state if, you know, they have people like Panda there? All right. Okay, let me switch gears just a little bit. Oh, you know what? Shoot, I'm sitting there talking about it and didn't have it up there, and probably people are probably, oh, nobody actually did scream. I was actually reading chat and nobody said, hey, change your screen. So there it is. Sorry for the flashbang. But yeah, that is the current standing. Obviously, we would all been better off if we just invested in Bitcoin in the first place, but we didn't. So hindsight's 2020. Hindsight is 2020. I'm just glad that's my biggest holding instead of putting a biggest holding in something else. All right. Enough of that. Then, so here is what one of my projects is going to be. I believe I'm still kind of toying with it because it's going to cost some decent amount of money, but you guys have probably heard me complain about my keyboard. It has some problems. It's a Razer and it has a volume rocker on it that like dial that has a problem, and I could open it up and clean it out, but eventually it's just going to happen again. So it's a pain in the butt. So I disabled that. The problem is every so often the Razer keyboard decides, oh, no. You thought you disabled that, and then proceeds to continually raise the volume on everything, like to a really, really high level, and then decrease it. So it'll go from 0 to 100, back to 0, back to 100, about 2 times every minute. It's a pain. So I've wanted to get rid of this keyboard. So I've been kind of searching and lurking. Oh, here, let me go back to full screen. I've been searching and lurking for what to do about the keyboard, trying to see if I could find the ideal keyboard. I did finally find the ideal keyboard all in one. And guess who makes it? Razer. Guess how much it is? $300. I'm like, no, I'm not spending $300 on a keyboard. So what does that keyboard have that I specifically want? What it has is some type of tactile key option. So you would normally think of like Cherry Browns, something of that factor where it's got a bump, but it doesn't click. So I like that tactile feel. That's my preference. And it has double shot PBT, but here's the kicker, not just double shot PBT, but shine through double shot PBT. And that's what's kind of difficult to find. So that's what this keyboard has. And I'm flexible on the size of the keyboard. It could be full size. It could be a 75 or 80%. I just want to make sure that I keep the arrow keys. I do not, the numpad, I prefer to have a numpad because I do use it every so often, but I'm okay. I'll be able to transition because I generally use the numbers at the top anyway, because I can type faster that way. The only time I don't is when I'm like using my mouse and then using the numpad with my left hand, which I do occasionally, but that's all right. I can do without that. So I was trying to find a really good, like, inexpensive, just basic keyboard. So there's like 2. There's Newfie is one brand, and the other one is Keychron. Both of them make some really good keyboards. So if you look at Newfie, and then they have, let's see, keyboards, and it's their gem. And so this basically comes as a bare kit. So it comes without keycaps and without switches, but it's a really good one. Now you can get it in different colors. The other thing is I would get it in navy. I thought that would be cool, with my logo and stuff. I thought that would be cool. And then the actual keycaps that I would get would not be from here. They would be from, shoot, let's see if it brings up Wooting. There we go. And let's just go there. See, the problem with Wooting is they do not have, they only come with linear switches, and they come as full keyboards. They do not have any basic keyboards. But you can get, where is it? Keycaps. You go to their keycaps, they have Wooting double shot backlit PBT keycap set. So that's what I would be getting. So $40, not too bad. So that's what I would get for the keycaps. Now the only other thing would be getting the switches. So let me, and the switches I still have to decide on which tactile switch I would get. So I have not decided on that. But if we go to Keychron, I think they also sell bare keyboards. But the problem is their stock right now is really bad. You can see 176 out of stock, 163 in stock. So if we go to custom keyboards, and you can go to all these different ones, and you should be able to get them as just, here, let's actually look at this one. So you can get bare bone with a knob. So this one, actually, you can just get bare bone with a knob. So this would be with that knob, but the rest of it wouldn't be there. You wouldn't have any switches and you would not have any. So this is another possibility that I could do. And this one actually is how much? 179. So it's a bit more, but you do get a full keyboard doing it. So this was another one that I was looking at. The Q series of Keychron is pretty awesome. I've looked into it. You know, it's a metal. It's very weighty. But I want just a basic one. I want one where I can color. Oh, that's the other part. I don't think that was the big difference between the Newfie and this one. This one, they do not have RGB. That's the problem. That's why I didn't go with Keychron. I totally forgot about that. I don't think they have an RGB option. Let's see. They have the ability to do a selection on RGB. No, they do not. Unless I do show more. Oh, not just layouts. Oh, RGB mechanical keyboard. Let's look at that. K10, K2, K2. These are all the cheaper keyboards though. K14, K12, K10, K2, K10. These are all the K versions, and the Q ones are the best keyboards. And typically when you start getting into custom, and you notice that none of these say custom, meaning that there's no option for a bare bones one. So that's why I didn't go with Keychron. So Newfie was the one. Now the thing with Newfie is you have the arrows, but you have no 10 number keypad. But this has gotten great reviews. So 149, 150 bucks basically, plus $40 for 190. And I think the switches are going to be about another $30 or so. So looking at about $220 for a keyboard that I really want, and won't have the same problem. Like if we go to the Razer, was it Black Widow? This one was actually pretty cool. Oh wait, this I think was the one. Hang on. Let's go to the store. It'll just be easier. Keyboards. Where is it? $299. Razer Black Widow V4. Oh, that one doesn't have a keypad either. So it's basically an apples to apples. So yeah. And this is the 75%. As soon as you go to a different Black Widow V4, you no longer get double shot PBT. You get what's the other kind, and that's the kind that I have now. And all the keys are like all stinking shiny, and I don't like it. They no longer have that matte finish to them, and they've got different marks on them. It doesn't matter if I clean them or not. The oils from my fingers have like eaten. It's just typical of this type of key. So I could replace the keycaps on here, but because it's got another problem to it, kind of like, nah, I'm not going to replace them on here. And again, the switches on here are okay, but they're very linear like. They have a very subtle bump to them. And I would like one that has a little bit, more distinct bump to them. So anyway, that's going to be a project that I will probably put together on a stream and go over my reasons. I might even make a video on it instead, but we'll see. The other project that I'm looking at, because I was like, we've had some needs for cameras where not so much for us, but for neighbors and things. We had a person across the street. They got egged. And I've got a Wise camera inside. I mean, it picked up people there, but it was dark. So, and it doesn't have like really good dark features or anything. So, and then we had some stuff going on in our backyard. We were able to catch that because it happened during the daylight, but we would like to have, you know, better coverage of at least certain places of the house. So I started looking into what it would take to use my current Ubiquiti Dream Machine and use that as the kind of the core of cameras. So basically UniFi has protect software that is on that machine. And all I would need to do is get the cameras, hook them up, depending on which ones I get, either wireless or wired. And I probably am leaning towards doing all wired cameras because I think I can get wires to all of them pretty easily through the garage because my Dream Machine basically backs up to the wall that goes to the garage. So I'd be able to wire it through the garage for the ones out front. The one in the back, I have a route to go in. Well, I wouldn't even need to go into the basement because I got a PoE switch in the basement. So I could run it from the PoE switch out one of the windows in the basement. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards at this point. And we'll kind of see where we go from there. But again, it's probably going to be with the hard drive that I'm going to need to add, probably going to be somewhere on the range of about $500. I'm just going to get the, not the 1080p, but the 2K version of them. So get the more inexpensive ones. They run about $130 for the cameras. And then, you know, a little over $100 for a 4 terabyte enterprise hard drive. So that's going to be another project that I plan on doing. And then the other projects I'm planning on doing is some network chuck projects that I've talked about in the past. I just haven't done them. You know, I've talked about maybe doing Pi-hole. There's one as far as remote access. The first one I really need to do is remotely, because I'm really getting tired of having to go to like 8 different browser windows and to try to manage all my stuff. It's a pain. So, yeah, I really need to get to that. That would have not life changing or anything, but it would have life improvements, if I did that. So definitely thinking about doing that. All right, let me go back. Let me just double check, see if I think I've hit on all the things I was going to mention. Yeah, I did that. And yep, I hit on everything I plan on hitting. Wow, it took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take, but, all right, let me just, I saw some things, but let me go back. Oh, yeah, I don't see the screen. Of course you didn't. All right, well, let me go over that really quickly since I did not have that on there. So here's the one I'm thinking about getting. This is the Newfie Gem 80. It's an 80%er. It's got the, sorry, let me go over here. It has the arrow keys on it. So I think this would be a really good option. It would also take up less desk space, which I like that idea. So I'm really leaning towards this one. Again, I'm not going to get a switch set. I might get a switch set just because they're cheap. It'd be nice to have maybe something else I could try. Same thing with the themed keycaps. It might be something kind of fun. And they're cheap. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I decide to add those. But either way, that's not really planned. And then if I go to here, these are the keycaps. This is the double shot backlit PBT keycap set. So, so that's what I want. Double shot PBT. That is the good thing to get. So that is the plan for those. And then this is what I was talking about was the where's the 290? The 299 one is here. The Razer Widow V4. And the one thing I like about it is, well, it has a different type of dial. Instead of being like flat on the top, it's on the side. So I'm hoping it's a different mechanism because, yeah. It's one of the things I did like about the Keychronos is the fact that they had a knob on the top. But how often do I really use that? I barely ever use it because right now on my, the 2 buttons I have on the top of my mouse, that's what I use for volume. And it's worked really well. I love my Razer mouse. It works really well. But yeah, keyboards, not so much. All right. And then I thought I had another tab. Yeah, because I haven't picked switches yet. That's the one thing I have not done. Oh, this is Keychron was the other one. Yeah, I was looking for, like, the big thing about Keychron is they do not come with RGB on their best models. So I was looking to see if any of these that were RGB, if they came as custom, and they don't. So you can't get you'd have to buy the whole thing and then switch out the keys and the switches. So I really, really don't want to do that. I mean, this one you can choose options on, but the Q is really the version that you really want. So, and then their RGB backlight, by the way, is not shine through. It's around the keys. I like having shine through keys. I like being able to be in the dark, in my den at night, playing games, whatever, and having a lit up keyboard so I can see the keys. Now, that's, by the way, another thing that annoys me about this Razer keyboard is they only light up the major characters. So for instance, if you're looking at like the number line above, it doesn't highlight any of the items below it. It only highlights the number. Now, I know by typing, I know what every one of them, not every one of them, but I know what most of them are. So that's not usually a problem, but it would be nice to be able to look down and see, wait a minute, did I do that right? So yeah. So anyway, so that's that. All right, let me check the chat. LOL, I just Googled most costly keyboard, and the one I found is for $10,000 for 24 karat gold plated. That's ridiculous. I use free Chinese keyboards. Well, I mean, I have, once you go mechanical and you know what you like, then I haven't quite become a keyboard snob. I just like a keyboard to work properly, which this one doesn't, unfortunately, and just have one that feels good as you type. It definitely makes a difference when you type. I have a Keychron at work, a cheap Keychron at work, that definitely does really, really well. Yeah, I just did it. So who sent you that? Oh, okay. Thanks, Vinny. So anyway, Corsair has some nice ones. Sometimes have refurb deals are really good. They have some good ones. I've tried them. Not thrilled with Corsair. Both my daughter and my son have Corsair keyboards. They love them. So nothing wrong with Corsair. Just not. Wireless keyboards go into garage. USBs go in a big box. I have a ton max. Okay. Yeah, I have a bunch of keyboards as well. Most of them are membrane keyboards, and I just keep them around for like rigs and stuff that I might have in different spots. Yeah. Screen. Hasn't share screen. I can't see. Sorry. I blame that on Sunflower Mama for not being here reading the chat. Can't be a peasant with non-RGB. Actually, the keyboard snobs frown upon RGB. They're like, it's completely unneeded. I don't need RGB. And so, like, a lot of the really expensive keyboards do not have RGB. All right, let's see. Switch to what you're looking at. Yeah, geez, I'm using a keyboard from 30 years ago. Well, some of those keyboards from 30 years ago, those old IBM keyboards, I mean, the plug on the end of them is no longer relevant. There might be an adapter or something, but those keyboards were amazing. They were clicky as hell, but no, those were really good keyboards. Light touch, you knew exactly when you had actuated it. Oh my God, those things were awesome. I had one, and I at some point I got rid of it. I'm kicking myself. Well, there's nothing wrong with a USB keyboard that works all the time. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's just when it comes to typing, type on mechanical, type on membrane, which is typically a USB keyboard that you're talking about, the cheap ones. You cannot type as fast. I can definitely type faster on my mechanical keyboard than I could ever type on the membrane keyboard that they gave me. E-machine garbage picked. Nice. Yeah, original IBM keyboard works perfectly. Well, yeah, I mean, yes, the original IBM keyboard, those are amazing if you get your hands on one. I mean, those things are worth a lot of money because, keyboard snobs want those. I mean, they absolutely do want those. What? Unify got good deals at the moment. Ends today, I think. Alan the King sent me a DM with what you're looking at, because are you talking about on their website? I don't think it's on the cameras though, because I haven't seen anything on the cameras. Don't get wireless cameras unless you have no choice. No, I'm the only one that I was worried about was the one in the back, because I have to run out a basement window, and exactly how I do that, and I won't be able to close that window all the way. So yeah, there's trade-offs. And so I'll probably go wireless or wired with that one as well, especially with the PoE switch in the basement. PoE for the win. Yes. Golden Wolf. Yes. Pointing up. Retro Mike says remotely also allows you to push SSH commands to the systems from the web dashboard. Nice. I like that. All right. Well, like I said, I need to get to that. I need to install it on my NAS, on my Unraid NAS, and see if I can get that working. Nope. Can't live without my 10 keypad. I guess I'll find out if I can live without it, but I think I will be able to. I don't think it's gonna be a problem. I have the Black Widow V3 and it's pretty nice. I love the volume roller. Does it still roll the same way as that was in that picture? Let me actually see. We're here. Let me go back. I don't know if they have V3 still on the site. Black Widow V3. This one. Oh, yeah. See, this is the one where they went to the Corsair roller. And that's what they should use. That thing's like rock solid. And then they went back to that like dial thing. They just reoriented it. So yeah, this one I thought about, but again, if you look at the details in here, double shot ABS keys. So yes, they won't get shiny as quickly because they're double shot, but they're still going to get shiny eventually. So yes, you could, maybe they'll get shiny after a year and you can just replace the keys. It's probably a cheaper option, I suppose, but yeah, I kind of wanted just to go all the way. Yeah, but that kind of makes me think maybe I should just get double shot ABS keys, and then with the plan of replacing the keycaps later. And that way I can get a full keyboard with shine through RGB. Yeah, I definitely don't want quartz, that's for sure. EVI SU edition? Ugh. The hell is that? Before anyone did anything, Evu did everything. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what EVISU even stands for. But I don't want razor green switches anyway, because yeah, I'd have to look. I think they're green or clicky, not tactile, but I could be wrong. All right. Let's see. What else are you guys talking about? I have black LOL. Yeah, that thing is. Oh, pink. Get pink one and no one will want to take it. It's pretty clicky and amazing. Yeah, I mean, I don't like clicky keyboards just because they are loud, and our walls are not like insulated or anything. I mean, obviously the outside walls are insulated, but not the inside. So it would get pretty annoying pretty quickly for my wife, I think. So that's why I went with tactile. As it is, I type pretty loud as it is. So, and on that note, unless somebody else got a quick question to ask, I am going to call it a stream. That was a 2.5 hour stream. I did not intend on streaming that long, but hey, hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I know people have been trailing off a bit, but hope you guys appreciate all you guys holding out till the end. Very much appreciate that. Frogman says my Corsair keyboard died, but I found Razer RGB on FBMP for free. Lady never used it, just had to drive 45 minutes to go get it. What is FBMP? I've never heard of. Oh, Facebook Marketplace. Okay, abbreviation. Nice. That was definitely a good find. That's for sure. Thanks, Argon Strider. I appreciate it. Alrighty, guys. Appreciate you guys all being here. Hopefully I was able to brighten up your Saturday morning, especially without Panda and Rabbit around. And I will be here on Monday. I don't think I will stream tomorrow. I got a bunch of things that I need to do, and I have some things I need to complete for work before I go into work on Monday, because Monday is going to be an extremely busy day. But again, thanks. I will see you guys all on Monday, and the General is out. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you later.